Alright, welcome to episode, I want to say 33, I'm not actually entirely sure, 32 or 33, sorry. I've really prepped for that, as you can see. Last time we had the collapse of the Green Country, we had more expansion into America. You might be able to see the new America borders I've drawn just because I want to be efficient with this expansion, because there's some some other pretty major things that I want to occur in today's video, so I'd like to get that done quickly. However, we're going to completely disregard what I've just said and do some of the other stuff that I wanted to get done today, including a war in Central Asia. So Central Asia, at the moment, pretty messy. I quite like how it looks because it's just a load of these weird blobby countries all stacked on top of each other, and I think that's pretty cool. But as you can see in this Tibetan Central Chinese area, this is all unclaimed. So I'd like to get more of that unclaimed in today's video. But yeah, as I said before, a war to start it all off. So look at the poor green team. It's not a happy day for the green team. Got some weird new shoe nation. Brown team is huge. Grey team finally got a coastline after like, I don't know how many episodes, about not 40 or 30. I would say somewhere around 26 episodes. Finally, the Grey team has their coastline, so it's a pretty major event. Last time only took them ages, but now they're relatively advanced, so I might need to give them some more major cities, I think, just because they've finally done it. They've become pretty strong, so there's that, which is pretty good. Also, there's Gold team. They kind of orchestrated this in a way, but there's the recap. So the country who will be kind of a pretty major component of this war is the Yellow Country, and they look a bit like a turtle, to be honest. Their borders aren't amazing, and lots of other countries kind of claim a bit of their land. So these such countries are countries such as this bluish one, this pretty vibranty green one, and this dark red one, who's kind of aggressive, but they're also really weak, so yeah, you can't be that aggressive if you're really poor. Well, you can, but you're not that scary. So, the three of these countries will form a temporary pact, at least. It is at the moment meant to be a temporary one. And they're going to all declare war upon the Yellow Country. Yeah, that's my sister. She's being a pain. Yeah, I don't know why she does that to me. So if you had any noise in the background a minute ago, that was her messing around. So there's that. Anyway, these countries will gang up on the Yellow Country, I've just given them another city. But these guys probably need some cities. In fact, I probably need to update the cities thing. Basically, that's just the message I really need to get out here. Update the cities map. But I'm just going to completely disregard what I've said and absolutely not do anything about that. So yeah, these countries will declare war on this one. I'm reluctant to use the other colours because, as you can see at the top, I've got some colours of countries because I want them to expand into Central Asia. So we're probably just not going to show that. We've kind of already guessed the outcome of this war, probably. So we're going to leave it blank for the moment. Actually, no. There you go, that's the attacking country's territory. The green country will move from the north, and yet the bluish and the green countries have combined their forces to take the capital with relative ease. The dark red country will manage to take this major city, but they don't push much further than that. The yellow country is kind of just falling apart now. They've lost 2/3 of their major cities, and the entire population is being pulled towards this one to try and defend it. However, that kind of just prompts the blue country to join this war, and they start an event, and it goes really well. The dark red country will move in even further, and finally these two front lines meet before the green country can come in and take the newly appointed capital and end this conflict. So let's have a look at this new peace treaty. All four of these countries have done this war and started it, so they will be the ones who take the land. The bluish country will be taking a pretty hefty chunk of land from these guys. The northern bluish country will get this bit. The greenish country will get pretty much their captured land, and the reddish country will take the remainder. So these borders, they're pretty simple. It's mostly like, oh, I captured this land, I get this land. Now there is no more of that yellow country in the world, and that's kind of it. But, you know, it is what it is. That's how this works. I was thinking whether I should try and make this more realistic, just like constant war and countries falling apart, but I think that'd be really tricky to do once you got beyond like 10 countries. Because you'd be like, well, these guys need to go to war, and these guys need to go to war, and these guys need to go to war. And I completely forgot about the blue country annexing anything at all. So we'll get down to that in una seconda. That's not French. Or Spanish. Or anything, I don't think. Sounds cool. So, very long blue country, and here is our red one. So there you go, Central Asia is slightly less divided now, and the red country kind of looks, I don't know, a bit doggish? Not really though. But prompted by the relatively small, but, you know, it is some money, amount of money they've received from their captured territories, these countries are going to expand further into these northern areas. You know, they've realized the brown country is not slowing their advances anytime soon, it seems. And pretty quickly, this area might just disappear from places they can take. So, you know, over the past few episodes, the brown country has just been moving further eastwards and annexing more territory. So yeah, the red country, of course, cannot annex that northern stuff. So they're going to move further down south towards this sort of central Chinese bit. So they take that bit, and then the blue country will also annex a pretty long amount of land. It's not very far south, however, it is a lot of land, I would say. So they expanded them further just after I got rid of all their colours. So that's pretty good. Boom. Yeah. And people are now getting pretty interested in what's going on in Central Asia. You know, there's lots of things like, oh, there could be loads of cool resources, and maybe there's mythical creatures out there. Probably. They believe there are mythical creatures out in Central Asia. You know, it kind of sounds like the right place to have a load of like dragons or basilisks. I don't know what else. Those creepy worm things. I think they're meant to be American though. So probably not those creepy worm things, but like snakes. These guys are kind of similar to the Green Team religion, although I think their religion has slightly diverted from the original teachings of the Green Team. Also, like the Green Team's got, well, they've probably still got lots of influence. I would say they've got lots of religious influence, just permanently, but at the moment their influence isn't too great because their country's just collapsed. But you know, it's what it is. Happens about every few centuries. Just after they get really strong, I tear them apart. So there's that. Next up, a few of these other Central Asian countries will expand further north, including this very bright green country. They're going to go a bit further north. And then after that, the Baikal nation, who's pretty strong actually, will expand further north. I don't think these guys have expanded in a very long time. However, there you go. There are those two. Because yeah, this land north of here will be taken by the brown country pretty soon, I can guess. I mean, who knows, maybe it won't be. But I would say it probably will be. You know, that's a fair assumption. The brown team's about to become Russia. And they are Russia. Like, proper Russia. You're not proper Russian yet. Pliviet, that sort of thing. So I think that's pretty good. There's some pretty huge nations now. We might need to definitely update these major cities sometime soon. Anyway, let's head over to America. The greenish country will be getting some stuff. That's right. They're getting stuff. Yep, so these guys will be annexing a lot of stuff, actually. So we see them take a lot of this northern territory from the Mexican colony. They finally enclose in the rest of this left out, probably desert area. So they finally united this entire Mexican chunk of stuff. And they also annex this bit, and then head up north even further. If you're wondering why the Terracotta Nation hasn't expanded, it's because last time they said, well, we're going somewhere else, and sent a load of boats down south, and they're going to colonize somewhere different. So they've just said, no, we're not colonizing anymore in America, we're going to go elsewhere. The Japanese will expand their kind of, whatever it is, what's this bit called? Baja California colony, and also just some of California. It's not huge, but also Japan's not huge, and they have a lot of enemies who don't give them very nice prices for stuff. Like Korea. You know, Korea. They hold grudges with people. And their colony has really expanded a lot. They've gone a pretty long way. Oh, damn it. It's annoying. We did cover it. There we go. So, they've been around for a while, and these guys, even in Korea, they are pretty strong. They have a lot of influence there. So it makes sense that over in America, they would have a pretty huge and influential colony. So there's that. It's not the entire freaking continent. I can tell you that. There's that. Its capital probably, like the capital of this colony, I said probably on Vancouver Island, just because that's cool. But it's like one of the first places they landed, so it makes sense, I would say. Is that no? That's not right, is it? I believe not. Right, we expand with these guys. As you can see by these borders, yeah, the Civilisation colony will finally actually do a large amount of expansion in Alaska. Yet they've kind of just been held back by the fact that Alaska's cold. That's a pretty big reason. How these guys are really going to be expanding in today's episode. An awful lot. So they take a lot of this Alaskan territory, and I think probably by now they're into Canada, I would say. So that's pretty cool. Nice. Also, crikey. Who's next? Ireland. Right, the Irish country. Is this right? No, that's right. Yeah. The Irish country will finish off the Quebecan sort of area and close in this entire pretty large chunk of Canada. The territory up here is relatively alright to live in. So, people are pretty avid about colonizing all this stuff. I think I said avid in like a year. It's fun when you use words that you haven't used for a while. There's Quebec. And possibly our last one, at least in North America, the Red British country. We're doing more expansion. I want to say they're the largest American colony. Maybe not. But it's nothing to be scoffed at the moment. So there you go. They expand into the rest. It's like Great Lakes area, and they're now making their way towards into southern Canada. Sorry, there we go. And that's not all, because I just remembered the last country I was going to do, and that would be Norway. So Norway, my friends, they're going to be doing something pretty crazy today. Pretty crazy, because this is about, I want to say, 1725 probably. And that means it is about time that Norway colonized all of Greenland. Now, of course, this isn't entirely colonized because there's nobody living out in most of the places. There's like a couple thousand people living in Greenland, maybe like 10,000, maybe slightly less, but Norway's a lot stronger than it was in our timeline, so probably about 10,000 people. But yeah, they've claimed all of Greenland, so now Norway is one of the biggest countries in the world. However, that's not quite where we're going to leave it for Norway's colonization in today's episode, as Baffin Island is the next huge icy piece of territory that the Norwegians would like to take. So, this entire island comes under Norwegian administration and claim. But that's not all in today's episode. Is it on the right colour? No, it should be. It is not? No, I believe it is. Anyway, as this island gets fully colonized, oh wow, it's a random island with nobody living on it. So there's that. But probably the coolest bit is they actually make a landing in continental Canada. Finally, and it took them ages and ages and ages. So they could definitely start their own initiative in colonization of Canada and North America, and probably just take a load of frozen, unwanted territory. But you know, it's what it is. Now we get to the countries where I had to actually find their annoying colour, and I just remembered they haven't done Sweden. Poor old Sweden. They're not going to take loads though, so don't worry. I'll just draw them up now. That's right, yeah. The Swedish will expand into the remainder of Central America. They get this bit. And then beyond there, they're just going to take that and take the rest of the Panama area. And that's that for them. They might not expand their colonies for rather a long time now. You know, I mean, of course they have Madagascar, but it's pretty tricky to colonize all of Madagascar. So they may take a while to do that. Just getting up Grenada and the other Iberian country. So there's Grenada and the Brazilian colonizer dudes. Like, their Brazilian colony is massive. And if you imagine, like, the Brazil in our timeline, I'm pretty sure they made it extensively Catholic. There's a load of people under this sort of traditional pagan religion, which the Purple Team follow in Brazil, so it's just tons of them now. It's one of the biggest religions in the world, probably. Possibly the biggest by the fact that all of Southern Europe follows it. I don't really know populations or economies. Mostly I just judge these countries off of economies. So I'm not really sure which country is leading in which things. I'd say population, Lime Team. Economy, Lime Team. Military, probably the Lime Team. Yeah, that was less hard than I thought. But then if we do like second and third place, of course the second strongest country in the world is the UK. Third, probably Terracotta. Fourth, I think, might be Iberia at this point, so this purplish country. Beyond that, I'm not really sure. I say Ireland, maybe? Maybe China? Probably Ireland. Look at this. Nice looking Brazil. These Chilean, Peruvian chaps are going to expand their colony a bit. It's not the best. I mean, there's like the entire Andes Mountains running through this colony, so some of it's pretty hard to traverse through. However, you know, brings them in the money, so that's all that really matters. And it is pretty large, I would say. So they're going to the Amazonian areas, which the Iberian country is now relatively familiar with. I don't entirely know which plants are in the Amazon. I mean, like, there's trees and stuff. But I don't know the medicinal properties of those plants. However, I'd make a fair assumption there's probably some pretty nice medicine sort of plants in the Amazon rainforest. So the Iberian country may be leading in advancement in terms of the medical field, which is an interesting fact, I suppose, about the world. Great. The Istrian country will expand their Patagonian, relatively horrible colony, but, you know, it is what it is. And they're making this more habitable as they go on. And the last country to do some expansion in South America today, the Blue country, will do the bit of their stuff. So there it is for the Blue country. They've really slowed down their rate they're expanding, because, you know, people are just kind of not liking it as much now. It's not as favourable, wasn't as cool as they thought, doesn't bring in as much money, I think these guys might still be a top 10 power in the world. However, not quite the same as it used to be. So, there's that. And if you couldn't make that guess, America, in the next episode, is going to get fully divided up. Now, I wasn't sure whether I wanted to do it next episode or the episode after that, but I've decided next episode we are going to fully divide up the entire American continent. Now, in North America, there is still a pretty huge amount of stuff unclaimed, but in South America, yeah, there's not that much left. And lots of it might go to Iberia, so we'll see about that. Anyway, still a few more mysteries to uncover, such as, where is the Terracotta Nation going? And the answer to that question is South Africa. So, the Terracotta Nation will be sending loads and loads and loads of boats down to South Africa. Tons of boats. Loads of boats filled with supplies, and they're all going down here to South Africa. Ton of people down here. And that means they start making a huge colonial effort in South Africa. And yeah, these are the new borders of the Terracotta. Nope. I was lying to you. I'm good at doing that. Just completely lying to your face. As those ships leave, they travel eastwards, and the Terracotta Nation makes a voyage across the Indian Ocean, the South Indian Ocean, I suppose, and arrives in Australia. So recently, a few terracotta explorers discovered the Australian continent and kind of went, oh, there's sand out there. The western bit's not too bad. So yeah, finally they've decided, let's go colonize Australia. Nobody else really knows about this, and it's free land. Just take loads of stuff over there, because their American colony just wasn't going quite right. They weren't thinking. They invested quite a lot into it, but it didn't go just how they wanted it. So in the end they decided we're going to quit doing that. There's a lot of other powerful countries who've got much larger colonies. Let's just concentrate on Australia. So they're going to do that. However, who knows, another country might make a landing here pretty soon. But anyway, let's go to the Lime team now. So they will do some more expansion of their Southeast Asian colony. These guys are very powerful, but also quite mean. There's a lot of countries in the world who don't really like the Lime team because of the massive influence they hold and the fact they just boss people around. I don't really talk about economic agreements that much, but like trade things and stuff. The Lime team always just like, give me the deal I want. I'm just gonna wreck your country. Simple as that. Also, they've landed in Papua New Guinea. I was kind of talking about them being not nice people, so I didn't really get around to mentioning that, but they have made a landing in Papua New Guinea finally. So, or New Guinea. So, there's that for those guys. Then what was I going to... I don't know what that was about. I just felt like saying that. The... whatever it's called, the Brown Nation will be expanding even further eastwards. I feel like I've probably said that in a lot of the episodes, but, They are sticking to these northern areas because people are kind of like, hey, could you leave us a bit down south so we can do some more expansion finally? At one point. And they're kind of alright with that, Maybe they know something that everyone else doesn't. And there's oil in the northern bit. So they're kind of just, okay. They want good relations with these Central Asian countries because they've stolen a load of their population. And they do kind of want to make sure that these people quite like them, because otherwise there may be war. Also, Norway's finally conquered Svalbard. Not only conquered, but colonized. And the Brown Nation has taken Novaya Zemlya, which is that giant island over there. But yeah, pretty huge brown country. Oh my god. Brown country. Anyway, speaking of Russian expansion, we have the Kamchatkan Emir, whatever country, expanding further into eastern Russia. So these guys will build themselves a pretty nice colony in this area. And, this Kamchatkan thing is going to be pretty huge. I said they were expanding a lot in today's episode, and it wasn't just Alaska. As they reach all the way around into this really far eastern bit, and colonize a huge chunk of it. So this Kamchatkan colony in one episode has probably like quintupled in size. Is that a word? Let's say it is. But there you go. It's not bringing them loads of money, but it is bringing them happiness, and that's what matters. Isn't that right, kids? They're also going to expand around what is this sea called? I reckon it begins with an O. I know that much. And that much is true. If it doesn't, I'm going to be really stupid. I don't know. They expand around this sort of coastal area and also further into the central bits of this territory. Just a little bit. You know, they've put a lot of money into expanding into some pretty unimportant territory. So that maybe was a bad economic decision, but eventually it may pay off for them. We'll have to see. And yeah, I need a bigger brush because this is taking a very long time. So Garland is cool though, and they're actually pretty powerful at this point. So yeah, here we go. I know there's something else I was going to do today. Oh yeah, so the purple country will be trying to expand their empire slightly. Well, they don't really have an empire, but they're kind of worried about the influence of this northern country over here, so they will be making a war, starting a war, against this sort of dark bluish country down here in the Balkans. So these guys have 3 major cities and 1 capital, whilst the purple team probably has more than what is shown on this map. And yeah, it looks like they still own these islands. I probably said they didn't. However, let's say they share them or something. I know the yellow team doesn't own that island because they're right over here in Bulgaria-ish, Serbia. But these guys, they do not see it coming. As the purple team, they go over to these islands, probably like for trade or something, and make a landing right by their capital and assault it immediately. You know, it's a pretty swift attack. And the purple team is good at swift attacks. They immediately take the capital, not immediately. They very quickly take the capital and begin to spread out towards other major cities. So they take the next one, big fast, and by now they're just climbing towards this one before finally capturing it and ending this war. No other countries really ended up joining this war because it was very quick. The purple team were very speedy, just like BAM! Our land. Nice. So yeah, the purple team have expanded their sort of empire. Not really. Got some land for the purple team though. So there's that. However, we're going to be going slightly northward and be looking at the greenish French country. As a dispute has started between them and the purplish country, also started at a similar time, as the purple team say that, you know, we are the true French country, and the southern one's like, no, your entire populace follows the new, less cool religion. And a war will begin between these two countries, provoked by the purple country going, you know what, let's throw hands. So they make an advancement towards all of these major cities, and I mean, these guys were kind of expecting a war. However, they didn't really think the purple team would be as powerful as they are, so they weren't expecting that attack. They make a further advancement towards the Swiss country, and another one towards the French country's nearest major city. The French country by now has sorted out its troops, and they'll begin to push back at the front line of this purplish country. They begin a new advancement towards their capital, which I think is probably this city over here, in the Normandy area, and they manage to cut it off. This leads to lots of people escaping to this, is it French Comte? Is that what this, French Comte, I'm gonna call it something like that. I think that's the area, and this is taken relatively quickly. The people all end up in this city, so they manage to take this one, and begin to head across the southern territory. the purple team's advancement into their territory is cut off pretty quickly, and they manage to retake the city. By now, people in the purple team are kind of scared. However, they don't want to back down to the greenish country, and they're going to hope they can defend. However, it doesn't look like it's going that way, as more of their eastern provinces are captured, until finally there's 2 major cities left. The eastern one is taken, until finally they close in around the western one, and manage to capture it. So let's have a look at this peace treaty. Oh, why doesn't the back button go back that far? Oh well, it doesn't really matter. You can kind of guess what's going to happen, I think. As the greenish French country make a full annexation of this purple country. So now the green French country is larger at home in France, and also larger away in America than its predecessor, the pink French country. The reason why they're larger at home is because the purplish country took some land from the Breton one, which wasn't very nice, but now it's benefiting the green one, and these two have pretty good relations, I would say. So they might return it, but also may not. So there we go. Is that the right green? It is. Alright, cool. And one other event is happening over here in Central Europe, at least I can think of. As the Swiss country, who's been around for a while, is kind of getting overshadowed. I mean, if you look at their neighbours, you've got the Northern Italian country, the Istrian country, the French one, the Terracotta country, and then like the pink and the salmon country, who I would say are probably stronger than the Swiss country, to be fair. But don't worry about these guys. Shh. Think about everyone else who is a very powerful country in Britain. Yeah. The French and the Terracotta ones are top 10 nations. Istria is pretty strong, and northern Italy is also. So people in these areas are under the influence of a lot of these countries, and it's going to cause the country to collapse. So we see a region breakaway in the north, which is kind of under the influence of the Terracotta nation. We see a southern religion sort of area, although a couple of these people are probably the northern religion, but they're murdered, I would say. Yeah, these people are killed. There is a northern Italian group who break away. There is one who is trying to preserve the old government of the country. There is a sort of eastern area, and then there's just this northern chunk that's like, I don't know what to do. So they end up splitting, creating another new nation. And let's make that border slightly better, shall we? That's not great, but we're going to leave it like that, as we see, yep, this entire area get divided up between a whole load of countries. So now we have a huge division in this area of the world, as Switzerland is kind of just falling apart now. So yeah, all these countries, they're not really strong at all, and they don't really have similar governments to some of the countries they're under the influence of. However, these countries kind of do control them. I'd say the weakest country in here is probably this reddish coloured one. So let's give them more capitals. A good majority of them don't have major cities. It's going to be slightly tricky. This greyish one will put their capital right over here. Pink one in their major city, blue one in the south. The Swiss one, or the old Swiss one, gets to keep their capital, which makes them stronger than the reddish one, but they're really small still. The reddish one will have their capital in their northern area, same with the orange country, and then the brownish one will put their capital right over here. So yeah, proud Switzerland, and we'll have to see how that evolves across the future episodes, I suppose. But there you go, Switzerland did not have a great day today. Apart from that, another country will be falling apart, as the kind of Indian influence country is having some troubles. A group within this country is kind of like, nah, I don't want to stay in this country. It's not a good country. So the people within this area, like a huge load of them, and this country it's pretty strong, I would say. it's one of these stronger Central Asian states. You know, they're under the influence of the Lime team quite a lot. So the Lime team gives them a fair amount of money to help boost their economy. But even that's not enough to keep in these rebellious groups. So a huge chunk of their population will leave and travel eastwards to form their own new nation. So it looks something like this. And almost immediately this new country will be doing some expansion of its own into this Tibetan area. These guys kind of like, I don't mind the mountains. They're not that bad. And they've been pretty clever in that they've not bordered the Lime or the Green country, so they'd have to cross some pretty horrible conditions to go and attack this nation. And they're kind of like, oh well, I suppose I'm just going to lose a load of population, and that's how it's going to go. So this new British country has started out here. Their capital will be right in the north. They basically just, actually no, let's move it right over here. They basically just constructed it when they went there, since there was nobody there. Actually no, capital there. There's nobody in the south of this country really, because they recently expanded there. So I decided they wouldn't really use it for trade at all. So I'm going to put their capital in the central area. Of course, that is their thought process entirely, not mine. Rest assured. The yellowish country, however, is kind of just going to go, oh, right, nice, new country in the world, let's go meet them. Like, no, go away, leave me alone, get lost. However, the yellow country does not care. These guys do not take prompts during a conversation. Also, I can't find. I know it's a type of yellow. I know it's a yellow color. But I really don't have a clue where it is. What it's doing. Where is this? Oh my god. Yeah, this is really irritating me. So instead we're going to have the brown country expanding northwards. These guys, they have been experimenting with something recently. Very recently. And that something is called democracy. Liberty. All that sort of stuff. Because these guys, they kind of fell apart, but then they went really spiritual. So they're a huge place for religion. You know, they have a sort of like a merge between the sun religion and also the whatever it's called, the green team, sort of water religion, and these guys have been really extensively following that recently, which means that they're extremely cultured. They've got lots of philosophers. It's like ancient Greek level of philosophy going on in this country, and they've kind of come across the idea of democracy. Oh no, that doesn't sound half bad. Tell you what, that doesn't sound too bad. So these guys are going to go with the idea, and they've made their country a democracy. And I think this makes them the first democracy to ever exist in the world. So it's pretty cool. But it seems pretty fitting for this Bengali country. I mean, I'm also just expanding these Chinese ones whilst I'm yapping away. So the Chinese country expanded further into their central territory. I just noticed the hole in their border before I gave them their colour, so maybe I'm getting slightly better at that. Let's hope so. Yeah. Oh no. I've just remembered this bluish country is also on the same... Wait a minute. These guys just normal yellow. I think they might be. No, I'm just stupid. I think I might just be stupid, like actually just stupid. That's how to fix my problems, realize I'm stupid. Anyway, the democracy within the brown team has decided, let's expand north slightly. It's like Himalaya Bhutanese area up here, but who cares? We're probably not the ones doing it, so it's fine. Bhutan 100, nice. Bengal, yeah. This Bhutan 100, I mean, probably. These guys, they've been raking in a sufficient amount of money recently because they linked up with the Orange country, which meant they linked up the entire Central Asia Silk Road thing, along with the whatever it was, the Indian trade route, and that meant a lot of people passed through their country. So it's been bringing in them a lot of money, also like everyone else over here. So yeah, they probably need some more major cities, but we'll get around to doing that sometime in the future. Also, these guys, this poor country over here, just absolutely not doing anything at all. But we'll probably get them to do something in the future. I do quite like China's borders, to be honest. They look quite cool. Except for this bit. What was I thinking when I made that northern border? It's disgusting. But, you know, oh well. Maybe they work out some treaty with the Greyish nation when they switch up their borders a bit. Might need to do that in the next episode. For no particular reason. So, we'll see. Maybe that's just something really random that happens. This bluish-grey country will expand slightly, and there we go. Central Asia is basically updated for today's episode. But not quite. As the yellow country, yeah, I figured out they're just normal yellow. They're going to be expanding even further northwards. And they finally meet up with this red country. Well, not really finally, they've only existed for a few years. Like 3. Think about it, these guys have probably been expanding, well, the eastern Chinese nations have only been expanding eastwards in the past, like, across this entire episode. So across the 1720s, 30s, that sort of time. And as you can see, Central Asia, it's basically finished off. And you know what that means? In the next episode, a lot of land conquering is going to happen. As, damn it, North America and also Central Asia will be filled in. But now I've just got 2 more events and I was like, oh, let's do it at the end, because that'll be cool. One of these events is the Indians finally arriving in Australia. Here the Brown Team, not Brown Team, the Terracotta Nation kind of hoped to escape from them for a bit longer than that. However, the Light Team are on this colonization thing. Like, boom, new continent, I want some. So it's not a massive colony, but it is a colony nonetheless. And Indian Australia has been created. As for the other thing, we head back to America and all the way up north, where the Norwegian country will be expanding their borders in the northern area. So they're going to be taking a huge chunk of this northern area. I was trying to keep it straight lined. However, it didn't really work. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad. Well, it kind of does, but who cares? It's going to expand around this Hudson sort of chunk of area. And that's going to finish them for a while, I would say. But yeah, you know, they might do a lot more stuff in Canada in the next episode. So you have to wait around to see that, and definitely watch it loads and loads of those times. Like the video, like, I don't know, donate all the money you ever acquire in your life. So yeah, that's how cool it's going to be. It's not, but yeah, it's what it is. And yeah, that's just fine. That's the Terracotta. No, that's not the Terracotta Nation. That's the Brown. It's not the Brown Team. That's Norway. Anyway, there's the map at the end of today's episode. It was quite a fun episode to make, I would say. Thank you very much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed the video a lot. Like, subscribe, comment, do whatever. But most importantly, have a nice rest of your day. Now I'm going to go up and update the major cities. So, peace.